guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a little makeup tutorial, getting ready with me, chatty, testing out some products, kind of a shebang, creating this look that I'm wearing right now. Mainly, I wanted to test out my new filming setup, so I finally went and bought like an actual table to put in front of me when I'm filming. Previously, I was kind of using like little end tables and was basically makeshifting, holding things up so I could see myself. I didn't have any way to view myself aside from the tiny little viewfinder on my camera that's way far away. So now I actually have a place that I can put my computer. I could set my camera up so that I can view what I'm filming like right in front of me, which is really, really nice. But I'm getting used to the new technology. As you will find out later in this video, there are a few little hiccups along the way. But in general, I thought it would be fun to just hang out with you guys, put on some makeup. I haven't really done a tutorial in a little while, so I wanted to play around with some new things that I've been testing and loving, a few old favorites, and just create something really fun together. So if you are interested in learning how I created this look, just keep on watching. So I'm gonna start out by priming my face with the Ren Perfect Canvas Silicone-Free Skin Finishing Serum. This is something I've been trying out for the last couple of weeks, and I've been really enjoying it. It was per the recommendation of my friend Stephanie, who writes the blog Brighter Darling and who also has a YouTube channel that's pretty amazing. She also has oily skin, so she said this is one of the few primers that controls shine and doesn't break her out because it's not full of silicones. And that's what I've honestly found to be the case with this primer. When you first apply it, it feels quite sticky and tacky, but then it dries down to a matte finish. But it's not a tight matte. It's not one of those mattes that feels crackly or like you have a layer on top of your skin. It just kind of sinks in and dries down nicely. I find that foundation goes on really, really well on top of it, and it does seem to help to control shine, which is amazing. For foundation today, I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Foundation in the shade Buff, which is 3N1. So I have Macadamia, which is a shade lighter, and it's definitely a winter shade for me with my summer tan. It's too light, so this is like a little baby sample that I happened to get with a Sephora purchase. We're gonna try out one of these brushes from JUNO CO today. This is their ES10 Flat Top Foundation brush. So I haven't used this yet, but I have tried JUNO brushes before and I've really enjoyed them. These are only $2 a piece and they look really nice. The quality is pretty good. They're very soft. They hold up well to washing. So I've been generally really impressed with everything I've tried from JUNO so far. But they just launched more brushes to their collection, and this is one of the new ones that they sent me to try. So immediately what I can say is that this is a little floppy for my taste as a flat top foundation brush. Like, it's getting the job done, but do you see how the bristles kind of have almost too much movement? I prefer something with more dense and shorter bristles for blending in my foundation. I think that it just has a tendency to make your foundation go on a little bit smoother and more airbrushed. So this is what the foundation looks like with just one layer. I love this product. I feel like the finish on the Flawless Fusion is flawless and gorgeous. It really does just look like skin. It's not too cakey and matte. It provides a nice level of coverage. With one layer, it's pretty full coverage, but there still is maybe some areas where a little bit is peeking through, but you can build it up if you want that very, very flawless full coverage finish. So this next product is pretty exciting. I know you guys have probably seen the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer around the YouTube world lately. This just launched a few weeks ago. I did get sent a PR package with all 20 shades, which was bananas. I will link for you guys the blog post that I wrote with all the swatches and all my thoughts, but the short version is I really like this a lot, so I thought I would show you guys today how it actually applies on the skin. I definitely feel like this gives Tarte Shape Tape a run for its money. It's very similarly pigmented, but this is one a little bit thicker and perhaps just a little bit more hydrating than Shape Tape is, which if you have dry skin and that was a complaint that you had about Shape Tape, you may really, really like this a lot. So I'm actually gonna blend this in today with the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush. I don't know why I've been into brushes lately instead of using sponges. I like them both. I just feel like I go kind of back and forth. So basically with this product, I find you kind of need to pat it to blend it. It's quite thick. And as you get more product kind of on your brush residually, then you can kind of buff it into the skin to really blend out the edges. But because the texture is a bit on the thicker side, I think if you try to just buff right away, it's not going to work very well. So I find that this sort of tapping motion to sort of blend it into the skin works really, really well. And then I can just buff the excess like on top of my eyes to cover up any darkness. This basically will also act as my eye primer. But look, like how gorgeous does that concealer look? I feel like it completely covers up, really brightens nicely. It looks really hydrated. I have fine lines under my under eyes that everything settles into. There's nothing that's not going to enhance those lines a little bit, but some things are definitely worse than others, and I find that this is one of the better ones. So I've been really pleased with this. I think it looks really beautiful, and I think it works really well with the Laura Mercier foundation. I feel like overall my skin right now looks pretty fantastic. I'm pleased. Then I'm just gonna go in with my Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, and I'm going to lightly set all of this down. I haven't been doing a lot of like heavy setting of my makeup. I feel like it actually makes my skin more oily because it tends to like dry the skin out, and then my skin I think produces more oil to compensate. So try not to go overboard on the powder. Honestly, this foundation doesn't really need a lot of setting. The concealer definitely will have a very luminous finish if you don't set it. It doesn't crease that badly if you don't powder it, but I like to just kind of give it just a little bit of extra insurance. And of course, I've got more JUNO CO brushes. This one is the ES02 brush, which is their powder brush. So I'm just gonna swirl a little bit of this in here. And I do always really try to work the powder into the brush, so that way it kind of helps you to control the powder where it's going, as opposed to just having it fluff everywhere when you put the brush to your face. So for bronzer, I'm going to be using the Winky Luxe Coffee Bronzer in the shade Mocha. I honestly can't remember if I've used this on my channel or not. I've had it for a while, but it's been living in my like makeup storage instead of in my everyday makeup drawer because I've been trying to pan the Too Faced Butter Bronzer. But I decided to whip it back out and use it for you guys today just because I haven't played with it in a little while. So this is the shade. It is quite deep. It is the deeper of the two bronzers available. The other one is called Latte. So I don't think I've used this since I've gotten a little bit of a summer tan. We'll see how it wears. I do remember this being very pigmented though. I'm gonna use this e.l.f. complexion brush to apply it because it's not too floppy, but it's not too dense, so I think this will be nice to help me not go overboard. So this definitely is going on less deep on my skin when it's this color. It's much more reasonable, much more buildable, which I appreciate. When I used this, when I got it back in maybe March or April, it looked very dark on me. It was almost not quite the right shade, but it's definitely working better for me now. So if you have more of a medium complexion, I think that the Mocha shade will definitely suit you better. If you are quite fair, you want to stick to Latte. In general, I have a few thoughts about this bronzer. First of all, it's scented, and I love the smell of coffee, but this doesn't really smell like coffee to me. It smells quite artificial, like one of those scented plastic dolls from when I was a little kid. And it's not bad, but if you are sensitive to fragrance, I think it is the kind of scent that will very easily give you a headache, so that's something to note. The other thing is that it's quite powdery. When you dip your brush in here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a ton of powder that's collected right here in the edge of this bronzer. It kind of does have a tendency to produce a lot of kickback. So you just kind of want to be careful, dip your brush in really, really lightly, otherwise you'll end up losing a lot of product and having it fluff everywhere. The other thing, and it's not as bad today as it was in the past, but I feel like this bronzer can be a little patchy. Like every time I blend it right around this area, I feel like it always looks a little bit splotchy on me. And I don't know if that's just because I have some peach fuzz, baby hair that it's clinging to weird, or what it is. It's definitely blending out a little bit nicer now that the contrast between my foundation and the bronzer is not as stark, but I still see it a little bit. It's not quite as smooth of a blend as like the butter bronzer is, which, considering that this is more expensive, is a little bit disappointing. So for my blush today, I decided to bust out an oldie but a goodie. This is the LORAC Buildable blush in the shade Prism. I love this. It's a really pretty matte peach shade. I feel like it's very, very flattering, especially on fair to light complexions. So I'm gonna just go in with that same e.l.f. brush here. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of this and we'll just dust it onto my cheeks. I feel like these LORAC complexion products are so underrated. No one really talks about their blushes and their highlighters. I feel like Madison Miller is the only one I've really heard rave about them before, and they're quite nice. They blend really, really beautifully. They're very buildable. You don't have to worry about going in with a super light hand and ending up with clown cheeks. They never really look weird on the skin. They're just really, really healthy and beautiful. And like, look at that. I just think that gives you the nicest, healthy flush. Moving on to highlight, we're gonna be playing with this bad boy right here. This is a new face palette from the Beauty Crop. It is one of their travel tea palettes. This is the Mediterranean Spring version, which is the lighter of the two. The brand did send me both. What I will say is this one was broken when it was sent to me. This shade right here was completely crumbled. I did repress it and try to like salvage what I could of it. They are gonna send me a replacement because I do want to photograph this for my blog and like do a full review and do swatches of both palettes. So that's something that will be coming to you guys in the future. But in the meantime, I didn't want to stop myself from at least playing around with this and testing it out. And so far, I am really quite impressed with this entire palette. You do get a bronzer and a blush, but then everything else in here is a really cool highlight. These two are cream shades and the rest are powder highlighters. They're very, very buttery and quite pigmented. Let me swatch for you. For example, like this shade right here is just beaming gorgeous. Super, super reflective. This is not your like for the faint of heart highlight. And let me show you guys one of the cream ones. So this one right here has more of a rose gold pink undertone to it, but it's got this really cool blue kind of shift. Again, it feels really smooth and buttery. It just like melts into the skin. So gorgeous. And then we'll do the lightest one, which this is the more champagne-y one right next to it here. This is also cream. So overall, I'm really happy with these. I'm really, really enjoying them a lot. The creams actually apply pretty beautifully on top of powdered foundation. So we're gonna try that out today. I'm gonna show you guys. I think I'm going to use the lightest cream shade. Of course, my fingers now are all crazy. And I am just going to tap this lightly with my finger. My hands are dirty, so I'm gonna go in with a clean finger to start to blend this in. Isn't that just a really pretty glow? It almost has that kind of like wet looking sheen on the skin. It's not chunky, it's not glittery. I feel like it just makes you look really healthy, and I feel like it lasts quite a while too, which is impressive. There's green tea and some other good extracts that are in here. The Beauty Crop is cruelty free. They're more of an indie brand. They really are pretty nice, and this palette retails for $24.50, so really is not that bad considering how much product you get in here. I am an affiliate for the Beauty Crop, so I do have a discount code with them. I will link all that information for you guys in the description box of this video if you want to check it out. Save yourself some cash money if you're interested in picking this guy up. But yeah, I've really been impressed with it so far, and I'm looking forward to sharing my full review with you guys in the near future. All right, so moving on to eyebrows, I'm gonna be using my Rodial Glamobrow pencil. This one is something I've been using a lot lately. Had it for a few months. I enjoy it. I feel like it makes your eyebrows look pretty natural, goes on pretty quick. This is gonna take me a while, so we'll just skip me filling in my eyebrows and I'll be right back. So brows are done. Let's move on to eyes. I really want to play around with this Milani Hypnotic Lights eye topper. I just picked this up from Ulta the other day. This is in the shade Beaming Light, which is a really cool purple glitter topper. So I thought it would be fun to pair this with the ColourPop Element of Surprise palette, because this has some really cool warm shades, also this duochrome purple, so I thought that maybe like these would layer well together. So I'm gonna see what kind of fun look I can come up with this today. So again, I'm gonna be using these JUNO CO eye brushes that I was sent. These are the majority of the ones that are new to their collection. They used to only have this ES06 brush. Yes, this kind of little shader brush was the only one they had. Now they've added like a crease brush, a pencil brush, and a little synthetic liner brush, so that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to start out with the ES07, which is the crease brush, and let's pick up this shade right here, which is kind of this rosy tone. This one I think is called Labyrinth. So I'm going to start out just gently buffing this into the crease. This palette is pretty bomb for $16, I'm not gonna lie. I got it in BoxyCharm a little while back and I've been really loving it. It's the only ColourPop eyeshadow palette I own. I have a bunch of the singles, but I haven't bought any of the other palettes yet, and I honestly am so impressed with the ColourPop pressed eyeshadow formula. I think it's bomb. I think I like it actually better than MAC, and it's cheaper, so ain't nothing wrong with that. And then I want to take this light peachy shade, and I'm just gonna kind of run this right along the top edge here and under the brow bone, just so that I get a really seamless blend. So now, since we're going to go for a more like purple look, I think I'm going to use this matte maroon purple kind of shade up here. I think this one's called Silk Street. So I'm going to take the ES06 brush, which is the flat definer brush, and this does look pretty pigmented. So I'm just going to kind of tap this right into the outer corner of the eye to start building up that color. Then I'm going to go back in with my blending brush, and I'm just going to kind of meld those together so there aren't so many harsh edges. Building and blending, guys, is the name of the game. So let's grab our fun purple sparkly shade right here. I'm going to apply this with my finger. I think that will really help to get the pigmentation as vibrant as I want it. So I am just going to start swiping and patting. Oh my god, that color is so cool. Then I'm going to go right back in with my blending brush just a little bit, just to kind of make sure that everything looks seamless. So let's just amp things up a little bit more and play with this eye topper here. So I am just going to take a little bit of this. There seems to be quite a bit of product on the applicator, so I don't want to go too crazy right off the bat. I'm just going to start in the inner corner. Apply a little bit, and then I'm going to take my finger and tap it out. That looks so pretty. Oh my god, I am like living for this right now. Well, that was a bit of a fail. I totally didn't notice that my camera had stopped recording. These are going to be the growing pains of me learning my new setup. But basically, I finished applying the Milani eyeshadow. I just tapped that in with my finger on both eyes. I think this looks beautiful. It basically is the same tone as the eyeshadow. It just added a little bit more sparkle and kind of shine to the eyes. I think it looks really, really stunning, so I'm loving that. And then I wanted to apply just a little bit of liquid liner. I didn't really want to do a wing, so I reached for my NYX Epic Ink Liner, but this seems dried out. It is not new, let's put it that way. I've had this for a while, so it's giving me a little bit of trouble. It might be time for me to get a new one, but I'm gonna try to make it work and just finish kind of adding a little bit of definition to the lash line. Yeah, I'm not loving how chunky my liner is looking right now, but alas, we're just going to roll with it. For mascara, I've got something new that I wanted to try out. I've had it sitting in a drawer for a while, but I haven't opened it yet. I have the Grande Cosmetics Grande Primer and Grande Mascara. I've tried a lot of their lip products before, and I've tried their lash serum, which is really good, but I haven't tried these guys out, so we will see how these make my lashes look. So the primer looks like your standard kind of white eye primer. White eye primers, I feel like, can be a little tricky. On one hand, it's nice to be able to see how well you've covered it with a mascara, but then on the other, if you don't, it can look kind of weird. So you just have to be a little more patient with them. This has a very plastic, spiky wand, but it seems to be doing a really good job of getting in between and separating and coating each of the lashes. So I can definitely see the primer on my lashes, but it's not chunky, it's not like too pasty, which is nice, so I don't think it's gonna be extremely difficult to cover with the mascara. So this is what the mascara wand looks like. I feel like this is really, really short compared to a lot of other mascaras I've used. The bristles are also quite short. It feels like just a very petite little mascara, but maybe that'll be good for really getting in and covering all the lashes. So I'm finding I have to like really work and wiggle the product through to get it on the lashes, but it is doing a really good job of keeping the lashes nice and separated. They're not clumping together at all, which is good. Because I really don't like lashes that look super spidery. Overall, I don't hate the way that this mascara is looking. I feel like my lashes, they don't look like fantastic or the best they've ever looked, but they don't look bad. This definitely gave it some definition, a little bit of length, a little bit of volume, kind of a little bit of everything, not so much curl, but it's, I don't know, there's something about it that still looks a little crunchy maybe that I don't love, but it's not bad. I definitely will have to continue to use it, and obviously we'll also have to see how it wears, because if I end up with raccoon eyes in a couple of hours, that is a no-go. So I haven't used this lip product in ages. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Lips in the shade Sweetheart, which is kind of like a nudie pink. I think this will work with this look, so let's give it a whirl. Now, this is a matte liquid lipstick, but I did have a lip balm on underneath to kind of make my lips a little less flaky and generally gross looking. So I feel like that's giving this now a little bit of a sheen, which I actually don't hate. If you find that a liquid lipstick is too drying, if you mix in a lip balm, it kind of gives it almost more of that glossy texture. It's not going to be as long wearing or as smudge proof, which is something to keep in mind. But if you hate the way that a matte liquid lipstick feels, that will definitely help you out. So that is it for today's look. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and playing with some makeup. It was nice to just get to test out my new camera setup and kind of give a first run at things. Obviously, it was not entirely smooth sailing, but I think all things considered, it went pretty well. I'm really digging this makeup look. I am loving the effect that this Milani Hypnotic Lights eye topper is giving. I think it looks super, super stunning, and it paired really well with this ColourPop eyeshadow palette. I'm also really loving the way that the rest of my face makeup looks. I feel like my skin looks really healthy and glowy, but not like overly oily and shiny. If you've never tried this Perfect Canvas serum before and you have really oily skin, it's kind of amazing. Also, the concealer from Too Faced, this is great. Again, check out my review that'll be linked in the description box if you want to read more about this. I also have a review on the Mercier foundation as well, now that I think about it, so I will link that for you also if you want to learn more about it. I'm also pretty impressed with this Beauty Crop palette. I feel like the highlight looks just so wet and gorgeous and like really beautifully melted into the skin. If you're afraid of cream highlights because they can be too chunky, these ones are really, really nice. I definitely look forward to writing up a full review for this as well, so be on the lookout for all that good stuff in the near future. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I always really appreciate your support so much. And if you're not subscribed to my channel and you want to see more of my videos in the future, make sure you click that button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And with all of that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.